organization that normally holds the cards very close to their vest, and with them leaking information about Mac Jones being their third overall pick, I kind of feel like this is a bluff here. So let me go ahead and propose this question for you guys here. Should Trey Lance be drafted this high in the draft at the third overall pick, Wyatt?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Mac Jones should either. I think that Justin Fields, in my opinion, is the clear-cut, option for that third overall pick, because one is Trevor Lawrence. We all know this. Second, as of right now, we all know is Zach Wilson. It's locked in. And the third pick is really where everybody kind of starts speculating. So you've got Justin Fields, who is a great athletic quarterback, and you've got Trey Lance, who's a great athletic quarterback, who both have, nice, strong arms. And then you've got Mac Jones, which I don't even know how Mac Jones can be considered as a top 3 quarterback. I'm puzzled on that, honestly, still, and I always will be. I don't know, but I think that Trey Lance definitely deserves a nod and a look at this. You've always got to give the guy his shot at it, and I think he deserves to be a top 10 quarterback. I just think with that third overall pick, if Justin Fields is still on the board, San Francisco would be stupid, and I mean stupid, not to take Justin Fields right there. Justin Fields is a quarterback who is going to be, I believe, very successful in the league, and especially if he goes somewhere like San Francisco. It's funny, actually, because the best situation right now for all of these rookie quarterbacks is that third overall pick. Because think about it. If you go first overall, you're going to the Jaguars, excuse me, who have literally nothing. Like on the offensive line, you've got no protection. Defense is below average. You've got a couple of decent weapon options in James Robinson. And then their wide receiver core isn't bad. Keelan Cole and DJ Chark. I almost forgot his name, but you've got a couple of decent wide receiver options. But then you look at the Jets; they're in the same boat. The Jets have nobody across the board. When you look at that San Francisco team, though, they've got a stacked house for running backs. They've got a decent offensive line. They've got one of the top defenses in the league. You've got a couple of good wide receiver options, and you've got a top 3 tight end, top 2, maybe even top tight end in the league in Kittle. So, I mean, the best option here for all these quarterbacks is to go with that third overall pick. So, I think that any of these quarterbacks will have success in San Francisco just because of the situation they're going to, but I think that Justin Fields will have the most success of all of them, followed by Trey Lance, and then Mac Jones. I don't even think should be a top 10 quarterback, but
so before I kick it to Tori there, Wyatt, let me have a follow-up question for you here. So are you saying that, let's say, out of the top 10 teams in the NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers is the most desirable team to go to? I think if not the most, probably second most, at least arguably the most. I just think of those top 5 picks, they're probably the most desirable, especially for a quarterback, because you're essentially set there. I mean, they're one of those teams that is a quarterback away. Maybe a wide receiver option would be nice for them to add somebody right there. But I mean, you've got a lot of solid pieces around you, and Kyle Shanahan is a good coach, a really strong offensive mind. So it would be nice to go out there and play. I think that is definitely, if not the best option in the top 10, arguably the best option, and a top 2, top 3 option. If it's not the 49ers, who would be the best option for a kickback?
If not, probably Dallas, but they're not going to take a quarterback. So that wouldn't be the top option for a quarterback, but for a player to go in the top 10.
If Justin Fields fell down to the Cowboys, I don't think Jerry Jones would not pull that trigger on that.
I don't know, man.
During the break, Dallas is shopping that pick. They are open to trading that pick right now.
Every team is open to trading their pick just because they want to scoot down in the draft and possibly get a Trey Lance, or Justin, because rumor has it that Justin Field is going to follow. It's going to fall down to 22 till the Patriots. I think things like that.
The 24 to the Steelers.
I've heard everything.
According to Charlie Casserly, and I said, "There's no way.
There is no way."
And if you read, Zach Wilson is not a guaranteed lock at number 2. There's a lot of stuff coming out now. The thing is this time of year, everything is smoke and mirrors. You do not believe 95% of what you hear, because it's either A, an agent trying to talk his guy up to get him drafted higher, B, it's a team trying to throw somebody else off the scent, or C, it's a team that wants to hype up a guy that they can get another team to trade up and come get him. It is nothing but a mind game at this point. And a lot of the stuff I read now is Zach Wilson is not guaranteed at number 2. A lot of them are like, if you take Zach Wilson over Justin Fields is clearly the second best quarterback in this draft. You're crazy. And so there's a lot of people coming out today saying Zach Wilson's not a lock, that Justin Fields probably will be up there. And they all feel Trey Lance. Trey Lance could end up being probably in that 3 or 4 spot. I think, and you said, I agree with Wyatt that at that 3 spot, the Niners are the best situation to go into. However, the second best spot is right there at number 4 if they stay in that spot. And if they go after a quarterback, is Atlanta. You have an aging Matt Ryan. They could draft somebody that's not going to have to step in right away. They could sit and learn. They have, Calvin Ridley and Julio to throw to. Who knows how many years Julio is left, but still, you still have a young Calvin Ridley on that team. They have a lot of offensive pieces. They've got a decent offensive line that they invested a lot of draft capital into in Atlanta. They've got a defense that's okay.
Slightly above average.
Yeah. It didn't get to the levels that they thought it would with Quinn as the head coach when he came over from Seattle, but still it's not like the cupboards are bare in Atlanta. They are literally like 1 or 2 pieces away from A, being a playoff team, and B, being back to a legitimate playoff threat.
So what you're telling me is that the Falcons are Super Bowl down if they get a new defensive coordinator and get Trey Lance.
They did get a new defensive coordinator. They got a new head coach.
So you're saying they're Super Bowl bound?
I'm saying they're probably playoff bound this year.
Interesting.
Quinn, I don't know what Quinn was. Quinn just was not good with that team.
So Wyatt, let me ask you this question here. From everything that Tori just said, that nobody is a lock after 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Did the San Francisco 49ers make a mistake by giving away the house and the keys and even the wife to move up to number 3 to get Mac Jones or Trey Lance?
If they moved all the way up there and they get Mac Jones, I'm telling you right now, they wasted it. 110%. That is the dumbest thing you can do. If they trade all that, that'd be like the Bears moving up to take Trubisky at 2. That's exactly what this is. You're going to waste a pick if you pick Mac Jones at 3. I'm sorry, but if you gave up all that draft capital and you gave up everything that you did for the next several years, and you take Mac Jones, you're going to be highly disappointed. I mean, highly disappointed. If you take Trey Lance, I still think Trey Lance is a good option. There. I don't think if they take Trey Lance over Justin Fields, I won't agree with it. But
did you watch his pro day today?
No, I have not actually got a chance to watch his pro day.
So Trey Lance's pro day was Monday, and he was dropping dimes, throwing bombs, rolling out to his left, tossing back to his right, on right in stride. The kid, the arm strength is unbelievable on that kid. There again, you're doing it. I'm going to go Combs here for a second and be like, he was in a t-shirt and shorts. I don't care who you are. When you're rolling to your left and you're trying to throw back to your right and you're throwing across your body like that, to get that kind of distance is insane.
Yeah, no, and I haven't got a chance to watch it. I've heard some stuff and I've seen some of the highlights, but I haven't really got a chance to deep dive into it. But one that I did was Justin Fields, and I think Justin Fields was the exact same way. I think Trey Lance and Justin Fields are actually very similar quarterbacks. Essentially, I think they could even be compared to be the same in a sense, because they are both freakishly athletic, got really good arm strength for their size, and they both, were good leaders in college. Of course, Fields had higher accolades because he played at Ohio State rather than North Dakota State. But, when you look at them in a sense, I think they're very similar. And honestly, if you take either of them at that 3rd pick, I don't think you're wrong. I still would take Justin Fields because I watched both pro days for Justin, and stumbling. He ran a 4.40. That is incredible. And if you watch that first step, he stumbles, still gets himself back, and finishes with that great time for a quarterback. If you watched his throws,
Many NFL scouts said it was the best quarterback workout that they've ever seen. Many of them saying it's the best they've seen in 10 plus years. So, everybody was really impressed by the throws and the athletic ability that Justin had put out there on his pro day. So, but either way, you can't, I don't think necessarily you'd go wrong either way with picking Lance or Fields. You absolutely go wrong if you take Mac Jones, though. I can tell you that right now. I think Mac Jones isn't even a top 5, top 7 maybe quarterback in this draft. I think Mond is better. I think the kid from Stanford, he's slipping my head. I think he is better. I think Sam Ellinger could even possibly be better from Texas. I don't want to put that out there yet, but I do think that Mond and, of course, I'm going to forget his name now, but the kid from Stanford, I think both of them are better than Mac Jones. I have no faith in Mac Jones. I think he was lifted severely over and over and over again by incredible wide receiver talent. If you go look at his wide receiver options over the last 2 years, they're all in the NFL or going to be in the NFL, and they're going to be great receivers in the NFL. So, I mean, he's been given literally everything. If Justin Fields had what he had, he would have beat Ohio State by even more than what he did. So, I'm telling you, if they take Mac Jones at that third over spot, they are making a big mistake.
I agree with that. So, Buck, you'll remember this. You know who Mac Jones reminds me of?
Who's
is
that?
Gino Torretta. Gino Torretta won a freaking Heisman and a national title with the Miami Hurricanes, but literally had NFL talent at every position around him. I think he wasn't super high in the draft. I think he might have been a 3rd or a 4th round pick, but he was out of the NFL in like 2 years. He was trash.
Yeah.
And to me, I think Mac Jones is almost the same thing. Like, I am living by the mantra that Mac is trash. Well, Mac
it's just the Alabama quarterback thing. Look back at any of the Alabama quarterbacks before this. Jake Coker. 90% of your people on planet Earth don't even know who Jake Coker is. Your diehard college football fans know who Jake Coker is, and that's it. Before Mac, you've got Tua, who, of course, is in the NFL. But look at before Tua. Like I said, you've got Coker. A.J. McCarron is going to be a career backup. He's done absolutely nothing. There's just not been any...
Yeah, Jalen.
Jalen, who I would consider him, I would consider him more of an Oklahoma guy after, I think that's where he had his best times. But it's just the Alabama quarterback. They're just not NFL quarterbacks. You get, like I said, you get a couple out of the pot here every once in a while, like Tua. If you consider Jalen an Alabama quarterback, then, Jalen has been okay. And I think Jalen will have a decent NFL career. But it's just the Alabama quarterback thing, man. They can't produce solid QB options. I mean,
the last good quarterback to come out of Bama is Bart Starr.
Yeah, exactly.
and even he was like a 12th round pick.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question here, Tori, before we move on here. Wyatt keeps bringing up Justin Fields' speed and Trey Lance's like athletic ability. When you are looking at a quarterback, are you looking at their speed and their athletic ability, or are you looking at their head smarts and like where they're placing the ball on the field?
I'm going to look at their head smarts and where they're placing the football first, because happy feet become injured feet, and you've seen it with almost every scrambling quarterback throughout the history of the NFL. That if you don't know how to throw from the pocket, eventually you're not going to last long in this league. You are going to get hurt. I call it get RG3. It was unfortunate because RG3 had a great rookie year. It was terrible what happened to him, but you saw he could not be a pocket quarterback. If he could not do like the RPO stuff, he was screwed. He needed to be running around, needed to be out of the pocket. They have what they call the happy feet, that they got to move. And you, at that point, you now become over anxious, so you start underthrowing guys, you start overthrowing guys, your accuracy goes right out the window. So give me the head smarts all day long. The mobility is great, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, you got to have a guy that can learn how to throw from the pocket.
I like to look at all of it, and I think that both of these guys have all of it.
You got to pick. Like, you can't have all of it.
No waffles.
But the thing is, both of these guys have all of it. They've got the head smart. They can place the ball very well. If you watch their pro days, they both threw the ball incredibly well, and then showed that athletic ability and speed.
Right? with no wind, no elements, no 400-pound player coming at you.
Yes, that is true, but there were still some very difficult throws that they put you through. Like Tori mentioned, you got the cross-body throws deep down the field. You've still got to make those
same
marks.
Throws that they've literally been doing for the last 3 months every day, right? Those difficult throws.
They're getting, all that is getting more and more accurate. Would you rather not be practicing that and not be making those throws?
I would like pro day better if it was at least in pro pads and helmets and shoulder pads, just because for like one, your throwing motion changes a lot when you have shoulder pads on because your arm can't go quite up as as far. How accurate are you going to be when you can't overthrow the arm and you got to like 80 degree it, and the same thing with like wide receivers too. Having a face mask there when you're catching the ball is a lot different than not having having one.
Yeah. No, I mean, and those are definitely some improvements that they can make for the pro day. I would look at possibly making those adjustments to the combine. Because, a pro day is just that, this is a weird year. Pro days are normally like that. Whereas at the combine, everybody gets together and does it with NFL, people,
right.
Your people who are at the college aren't timing you. You don't have the exact same guys that have been timing you the whole time that you've been at your university. So it does help in a sense for that. So I absolutely agree with you. Those adjustments could be made, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. I would just look at them as a combine adjustment.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. Man Hour Nation, thank you for checking out that clip. If you're interested in watching the full show, the link is in the description. Click on it, hit that like button, share it with a couple friends, and as always, Man Hour Nation, rise up.